Welcome to the Scam Economy with your host, Matt Bender.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Scam Economy post show. It is June 30th, 2022. This is the post show for episode 21 of Scam Economy. Really just knocking them out at this point, right? I can't believe we're already this far into the into Scam Economy, and we're already getting a call. Let's take the call right away. To call in, open Skype, type in doomedlive. Hello. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Is this me?
This is you. Hi, how are you? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Brian. I'm currently working in Richmond, Virginia.
Hi, Brian from Richmond, Virginia. What would you like to talk about?
Oh, shoot. Well, first and foremost, really enjoyed the interview. I thought that was really interesting. I've got a number of family members who I've had mostly, they're mostly pro-crypto. In fact, I have a cousin who works in finance who's like, I'm going to own this forever, and I think it's going to be great. And you're my primary source of info.
Oh,
so I've
wow.
I've recommended your podcast to him.
So
Mateo,
that's where that
Mateo, if you're listening, shout out to Mateo.
Oh, okay, so that's where that negative review came from. No, I mean that's awesome. That's good, but also that doesn't make any sense. If his play is to own it forever, then what's the point? It's not an investment if he wants to own it forever. Oh, yeah, I just saw you turned on your video. Could I pull your video into the feed, the live stream feed?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Let's pull you up. All right. So that's what is Mateo into? Like, has he told you what sort of cryptocurrencies he's invested in? Is he like into the mainstream ones, like Bitcoin and Ethereum, or is he going after some shit coins?
He mostly has talked about Bitcoin.
Okay.
So Mateo, if you're listening to this, I apologize if I forgot the other ones.
Okay. And what is his like? Do you recall when he started talking about it? Is this something new for him, or is he one of the old timers?
It's something relatively new.
During 2020, 2021, past 2 years?
Yeah, 2021, 2022. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if you know what X Golf is, but we were hanging out at X Golf and talking about it, taking our turns, And I was like, look, you gotta check out Matt Bender. This guy, he knows all about this stuff. So.
And how much has he invested in? Has he told you how much he's put into this?
Well, I mean, look, I'm an RN, so he's much more wealthy than I am. Also, I have 5 children, so I'm not very wealthy at all. But
dads, let's do it. Yeah, hear it for the dads.
Oh yeah. Actually, my 5th child was just born on May the 4th.
Congratulations! Wow, that's May the 4th be with him.
Yeah, his name is Luca. So this poor kid, for the rest of my life, will have to put up with Luca. I am your father.
There you go. Right.
May the 4th be with you.
Yeah.
No, but so I didn't have the nerve to ask him exactly how much he'd invested, but
is he someone who constantly buys, or did he just like get into it, invested, and just follows it? Like, does he like put a lot of money into it still, or has he just been holding?
Well, since the crash, he's gotten a lot more silent. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, he's probably lost. Well, he hasn't sold yet, so he hasn't really. I mean, he lost his money the second he bought it, because in return he got this, magic internet money that doesn't have any value beyond what people have ascribed to it. But he hasn't actually realized those losses yet, because I'm assuming he hasn't sold.
Yeah, no, I don't
Um,
think so. Yeah.
yeah, depending on where he bought, I mean, he may never be able to sell at a profit ever. I mean, I don't really like to predict the price, because to me the value of Bitcoin or whatever cryptocurrency is not really the point. I mean, in my opinion, the critiques are more important when all this shit was pumping over the summer and everybody was getting into it. Now I think people are, getting the message when they look at their their exchange account at like Coinbase or their crypto wallet, and they see how much they've lost, and they'll go themselves, yeah, I think I'm staying away from this for a while. So I don't know if it'll ever get that high again. I mean, I don't know when he bought in. I've heard from plenty of people who got into Bitcoin in like, the early to mid 2010s, who don't mind this right now because they're still in the green because they bought when it was just in the hundreds of dollars. But if you bought when it was like 50, 60, almost $70,000 of Bitcoin, I mean, it's rough.
It's yeah, yeah, exactly. And I mean, what any economist will say, that something's only worth as much as somebody will pay for it. So, I don't know. I trust your opinion on this more than I trust my own. But I mean, who knows? Crazier things have happened than prices rebounding again dramatically.
Right.
So
And
I mean,
if
who
he's
knows?
if he's wealthy, like you said, maybe he doesn't need the money. Like there are people who put money into this and they kept it in there because they just got a little bit greedy. Like, just human nature. I'm not judging anybody there, but they keep it in because they see number go up and they get greedy and say, I'll keep it in there for as long as possible. And then eventually, number goes down, and more likely when number goes down, they're probably going to need that money, because I'm sure they can't afford to just let it sit there forever, and they'll have to sell off to pay bills, to pay an expense they weren't planning on, and they can't just wait till it goes back up. Hopefully hopefully your friends got the financial ability just to wait, I guess, but who knows how long that'll be.
We will see. Two things to close this off, if I may.
Go ahead.
My phone light just came on and it's about to die, so I'm going to have to hang up on you, even
Okay.
though this is the end of the call. Even though I'm working in Richmond currently, I live very close to where Tim Pool's compound is, actually,
Oh.
geographically speaking. So if he ever invites you back, if you need backup, like I said, I'm an RN, and I'm actually considering running for state senate in Maryland. So, but if you need backup, holla at your boy. I got you covered.
Oh, all right, will do. Thank you.
I'm one of your patrons, so
Oh,
just you can find me.
thank you so much. I appreciate the call. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the offer for backup at the Tim Pool compound if needed. And if you do decide to run for office, please reach out to me. I will, not on Scam Economy, but I'll get you on Doomed or one of my, a live stream during the week or whatever, and we'll talk about your campaign for sure.
You're very kind, sir. It would be in 4 years or so, but God willing,
Hey,
we'll make
start
it
planning
happen.
now,
'Cause,
and you'll make it happen. Yeah, can't plan too
I'm
soon.
saying there's a lot of unhealthy people in Maryland, and so that's sort of, being a nurse, that's sort of my passion.
I like to hear that. Very good. Good for you, man. And keep me on the up and up. Congrats on the newborn, and may the fourth be with your entire family.
Cheers, mate. Have a good one.
Take
Bye.
care. Ooh, a lot of calls right now. Just a list of people trying to call in. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yo, back.
Hey, how are you? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Phil. I'm in Delaware.
Hey, Phil from Delaware. And you're using your video, can I pull you up on the feed so people can see?
Yes.
Cool. Just always like to check. What would you like to talk about?
You can hear me and see me all right?
Yep, everything's good on my end, and looks like on your end too. Yep.
Nice. I'm a big fan. I've called in a couple of times. Usually, the last time I got pretty hammered. I haven't even come back and watched it, but I was trying to get on the last one because I was working on this project, and for Pride Month for our friends in the. I thought our friends in the LGBT community would like to see, or I want to show off my project that I'm working on, or I'm finishing tonight.
All right.
But I don't know how to turn the camera around.
You may have to just. Are you on an iPhone?
Yeah.
All right. There should be like a button that's like it's like a round like arrow, like a circular arrow to flip it. Something like that on the screen. There should be something to just flip.
I'm like taking pictures. Yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah, it's not showing up. Yeah, sorry. Well, just flip the phone. Just turn the phone around. Just turn the phone around. Like, just in your hand. Just turn it around.
What did I do? I'm all
You turn the video off now. It's all right. It's all right. These
the
things.
videos
Now you're back. Why don't you just flip the phone? Flip the physical phone now.
Boom. So I do tile mosaic. Can you see that?
Oh wow, that's really.
Let's see if I can find
all right.
A light. So I forgot to do the top. I'm in the process of grouting.
All right, let's see the sides because we couldn't really see it before. Oh wow, that's insane. That's really you got a talent there, my friend.
So I this is the first one that I did that's like this 3-dimensional. I kind of wrapped the rainbow around. My niece loves rainbows and saw me. I made a table that kind of had this design on it, and she's like, "Oh, I want that."
How old's your niece?
6.
Now you understand that by putting a rainbow on something for your niece, the right would consider that grooming.
Oh, totally grooming. I'm grooming.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but that's really nice, man. That's great. That's really cool.
For Pride Month, I got it in. Her birthday was on.
Just in the nick of time. We have about. What time is it right on where I am? And I think where you are, you're in Delaware, you said. Yeah, so where you are too. Less than 2 hours left in Pride Month.
That's right. I got it in. I got to say, your community is the most of the community that I, really identify with or, get to, I enjoy hearing. Trying to be an ally, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hear you, man.
Rainbows. No. I love rainbows anyway as a hetero cis male. So take that what you will. But anyway, on the crypto scene, right? I work for one of the pillars of the empire, like a very large financial institution where we have it's crazy, like a cult to the CEO. It's like, oh man, did you see this guy do this? Like at the executive level, when I tune into the high level stuff, it's just like, oh my God, it's like sickening. But anyway, I tuned into this one on innovation because it was mentioning crypto and how they were going to use it. Like this giant, one of the big boys. And I have to go back. I want to go and see the presentation again because I can't remember the other two. But one of the uses that he had for blockchain was as collateral, somehow doing something with the collateral of derivatives, which I just found. I was just like, of course, a derivative is the cause of the first crash, you know what I mean? It was a paper version of crypto or NFTs, credit default swaps and all that shit that caused the 2008, all those well, I mean, I knew a financial advisor back at the time and I was really, really into this stuff. And I mean, it's been a while, so I don't know it all anymore. I kind of put it out of my brain, but back then I could tell you everything about all those fancy derivatives. And it's I got to talk to my super successful dude who was a financial advisor. And I was asking him, I was like, what does it mean when one of these credit default swaps hit? And I mean, how does it mechanically work? What exactly happens? You know what I mean? They're supposedly billions and billions of dollars wrapped up in these securities. And his answer to me was, nobody ever expected them to hit. I was like, that's not an answer, but like they don't have an answer. And they used to talk about how the people who created them didn't even understand them. You know what I mean? And all these like obscene amounts of money are just being invested and they're legitimized by the biggest banks that got bailed out. And back then, a bailout was 777 million, if you remember. In 2008, we were screaming about that.
Right.
Billion was kind of still a bad word back then, and that wasn't that long ago. I mean, you want to talk about inflation, and it's just, you know what I mean? We throw around billions like it's nothing these days.
Yeah. And
But,
of course,
I mean,
billions are a big deal when they go into like, programs that help people. But billions just to throw away, for bailouts and subsidies for corporations, that's just smart, obviously.
and they were supposed to be what that's like was supposed to be the payouts for these contracts or these bets that weren't supposed to hit. I mean, what happened to them? I mean, they're still somewhere, or are they? Like, I mean, and that's kind of what it's like a repeat of all that shit. Did you ever come across, like, did you get into that kind of shit like a Matt Taibbi kind of did, where get kind of into the economic side of like the financial security sort of side when you were in the like Occupy days?
No, I mean, he's one of the people who I would, go to in terms of like his work to see what he was saying, because I looked at him as like sort of someone who understood that world but was critical of it in the same way that would, that would, reflect how I would feel. Just I didn't know enough about it to be the one to, do that, to write what he was writing.
Right.
So I look towards people
But I
like
mean,
him, and that's one of the reasons why it's so upsetting to me how someone like him ended up going the trajectory of their career. But
yeah, but you kind of knew the like rudimentary ideas
yeah, like
behind
the
like
basic, the very basic, but like
right.
I wouldn't have dared to go on screen or write something about it because I just didn't know enough to really, if I read someone else who knew something and were writing for a layperson such as myself, I would be able to read it and be like, okay, I understand why this is wrong, why this is bad, So yeah, up to that level.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the just being in the industry, like I wasn't like really directly ever in a place where they were into all those investments and that kind of stuff, but just from I would kind of look for. I mean, back then in the internet, you didn't have like all the YouTubes and all that kind of stuff. You're looking at the almost like the New York Times or whatever blogs and stuff that you could or that's what I was doing in my free time at work or whatever. But it's fascinating, just like the complexity and I mean, it's almost like black magic that whole securities creation.
Right.
The mystification of the creators of it, not even like understanding it. And we're seeing it happen again. And it's like, but it's like more bald face. Cause I mean, like
because like before at least they can say like, we didn't see this coming. This is, there was, it's been, there was
well,
nothing.
and it's like we're glorifying pump and dumps. My kid got in on the Reddit boards. I wasn't the I don't think it was GameStop. But one of the, it was that's just blatant pump and dump. When I was in school, we did a simulation. That's what you did. You got a bunch of people to buy in a block. When the stock went up, you all fucking pulled the rug, basically. And now it's just, I mean, it used to be called like insider trading. It was kind of like the lesson we were supposed to learn about the Great Depression and the savings and loan. And it's just like, I felt like with the derivatives, it seemed like the wizards were getting a little more better at mystifying it. And now it's just like, fuck you, I'm gonna invest in. We're gonna pump up GameStop, and then the market decides to stop when the big investors started losing, right? I mean, and that wasn't like a big deal. Like 10 years ago, that would have been like all you would have heard about on the news. It would have been like this fucking shocking thing through the finance industry, and it would to the point where it would have reverberated into the mainstream, like the actual crash did. It's like
Right.
the market stopped, they put the red light on, but it's like so common anymore. It's just been normalized. So it's madness. It's going to be very interesting to see where all this fake, value,
Right.
what happens, what's
Yeah.
coming.
And on top of that, what's going to happen, in terms of everything you just said, but like we also have all these people who are losing money now with something that didn't exist in 2008. Like, and like we're seeing like major crypto exchanges bail some of these literal like Ponzi's out. And like just like, what are you doing? If you're supposed to be the legit, like you're supposed to be a legit company, why are you even like let them die? I mean, but of course, when just like in 2008, the crypto scheme companies, the scam firms that are getting bailed out now or acquired, their new found cash injection is not going to go to the people who lost money. It's going to go to keep their little grift going and start something new, scheming and scamming a whole new audience. It's really angering. It's
madness.
It's madness. Yes, it's madness. It's insane. Like you do like the right thing, and you get nothing out of it. Yet you scam people. Not only do you get away with it, you get insanely rewarded with riches, and then on top of that, you get another opportunity to do it all over again. Like there's no consequences. It's just literally failing up over and over and over again. It's incredible. Sometimes I'm just like, what's wrong with me? Why don't I just fucking screw some people over already and just get rich and
It's amazing it still works.
Yeah, I just couldn't do it. Yeah. But thanks for the call, and thanks
You're
for
the
that
best,
was a
man.
really fun talk about basically we're like it's like a mirror image, yet they both exist in the same world right now. Oh man.
But yeah,
Well,
anybody you can get to talk to you about derivatives, that would be very interesting, because
yeah,
they're floating around out there somewhere, and it's a very interesting history if you find somebody who actually like put their hands on. Because when I called before for the crypto, I was asking about like the minutia of like what actually makes up the actual mining of a coin, like what's the actual mechanics of it, and I like tooled around and looked for it myself, and it's almost like the derivatives thing. It's like, what question is being asked, who's asking the question? So the original creator, that's all it is mining, is answering a question. What question equation are these minds solving?
yeah.
It's very strange. Anyway, I'll let you go. I'll let somebody else get on the line.
You're talking about like the like what they do to like get the Bitcoin reward, like when they're
The mine, like for like whatever.
it's
The
basically
miner actually like hits.
it's
What's it
basically
hitting?
it's basically just like random guessing of numbers. Like I know, like I've said it too, like a mathematical equation, because just like I guess the easiest way to I'll get someone on to really get into the like the nitty gritty of like
Granular.
Yes. Because
Yeah.
basically it's just guessing a bunch of like a long ass string of numbers, and whoever hits that number first is the one who gets to basically put that that block of transactions on the chain. And then by doing that, they get a reward if they're Bitcoin miners, they get a reward of Bitcoin. Right now, I believe that reward right now is 6.5 Bitcoin. So, you get a nice chunk of change there. You're also spending a lot of money to buy the equipment and to use shit ton of energy. So the trade-off has to be worth it, I guess, cost-wise. But it's not going to be 6.5 Bitcoin for long. Every couple of years, that reward gets cut in half. So I wonder what's going to happen when Bitcoin miners are like, this isn't worth it anymore.
For real.
All right, thanks for the call. Really appreciate it. Feel free to call in any time. This was great, and great work on that art you're working on. That was really cool. Have a great night.
Appreciate it, man. Love it. Love the community.
Thank you. Take care. Let's go back to the phones. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Matt, my name's David, and I'm calling from Olympia, Washington.
Hey, David from Olympia. What would you like to talk about today?
Two things. One really quick, and the other one also probably pretty quick. But I saw that you haven't totally got into it yet, but have you watched Fillion's video?
I have not watched Fillion's video yet. I got to take the opportunity to. I got to find some time to look into it. I will say if his video is just on what's already in that Gordon Goner, document, it's a little bit too much. I mean, I disagree with some of the direction that went in. Are there certainly a number of coincidences in that document that are interesting and I'm sure I think are good to point out, I guess, or fair to point out, I should say. Sure. But I think some of it is a little bit too much of a jump. But if Fillion has more in that video than that, if he dives
I don't
further
know
in,
if he really does. I've seen that's like a criticism a lot of people are making, but I do appreciate that response because the whole time I was watching it, I knew that the information wasn't totally new, but I was thinking like, man, this is just like Matt Binder bait, like 100%.
Right.
And I appreciate your journalistic restraint and skepticism and, not just like jumping all over it.
When I first saw that, I was like, oh shit, here we go. And I was ready to I do think there is for sure a very weird similarity between like the Bored Ape logo and like the SS skull.
There's some, I will say the video I hadn't seen Ryder Rips' stuff or the Gordon Goner website before, so maybe it was more shock value for me, but I was at certain points of the video a little taken aback.
I would say there are definitely some things that match up, and then and then there are definitely some things that are stretch.
No, there were
which sort of undermines it. Then, like you gotta hold back thing, and not do that. I think when you're putting these together. Yeah, go ahead.
I think another thing that sort of undermines it, or in the case of Fillion's video, is that he teamed up with Ryder Rips and they're kind of selling there's like an alternative NFT that they're selling that's like an anti-ape NFT or something. So there's like a new NFT tied up into it that you should get instead of an ape, or that cancels the apes out or something.
I vaguely came across something like that, and it was a major turnoff, honestly. I think, again, it totally undermines what you're trying, what you claimed in your video and in your original, the Gordon Goner thing you're trying to do. You're not going to see me minting any NFTs to support.
No.
Yeah.
But it's a real narrow thing.
What are they doing? What are they doing with the money? Like, is this like a charity thing? I mean,
no, I really couldn't tell you, but I mean, the other thing is that the video was really pointed critique of Bored Ape, and there was not really much in the way of NFTs in general. And so by the end, what really kind of turned me off was the guy Fillion who made the video got on this kind of like moral high horse and pretended like he was going to start this like giant social movement where like the apes will be destroyed and like everyone will wake up, and to the troll that I don't know, that stuff doesn't interest me so much, especially because he was coming from the. Sorry, go ahead.
I've seen some of Fillion's videos, just a few, just like 2 or 3, I think, of his.
This was the first one I had seen.
I've seen some of his videos specifically on crypto, and he's the one who I discovered that conversation between Mr. Beast and Logan Paul, where they were talking about on air publicly how Gary
Right.
Vee called them up and they all basically like manipulated the cyberpunks market, and then all took their earnings and threw it into Gary Vee's NFT project to like pump that up. And I thought I had not seen that, and I thought that was definitely something worth talking about. Like that's certainly a revelation, I think. I mean, not a surprise it's being done. Certainly means something to see them openly admit that they're doing it. But I thought that was good work from him to find that video and to commentate and create a piece of content around that. But this one, I'll still watch it. I'll still see what's there.
I'm interested to hear your thought. I'm interested in your response.
Right. I mean, I've seen there was like a screenshot I saw floating around of like the similarities between the Bored Apes. And
Well, it's like
some,
an hour-long video, so
And
he
some,
gets into a ton of stuff. Like the Totenkopf is there, but there are other things. There's an interview with one of their high school friends, who I'm not sure if it was like Dateline or some other like primetime interview, but some friend of her that's very fishy, kind of vouching for them and seemingly running cover. I don't know. I'm interested in your response, but anyway, we don't have to stay stuck on that because I'm sure there are a million other people wondering if you've seen that video.
Yeah, there were a lot of people asking, and a lot of people were asking me. I feel like more people are watching the video now, actually. More people asked me this week than last week. And so I'm going to have to obviously check it out now. What I think is that maybe there's something there. I'll have to watch. But from what I have seen so far, I would wager to guess that these guys were edgelords who took some influence from various 4chan adjacent memes and injected it into their Bored Ape art that they had created for them. Now remember, the Bored Ape guys, the NFT revolution that's supposed to enrich artists, the Bored Ape guys are marketers and developers who hired artists to create it for them while they make all the money and they paid the artists off one-time fee.
There is some profiling of those guys. I think one of them like has an MFA in creative writing and used to I think his dissertation or his thesis project was about Nazi adjacent literature and fiction and stuff. So they definitely do seem like edgelords. They don't seem like. Anyway, there's interesting profiling of them.
That's interesting, though. I didn't know about that.
There might be more because I never went on Ryder Rips' thing. I never saw the Gordon Goner website, so maybe there's more information than what you've gotten. But basically, what you just said, the takeaway of these are like edgelords who knew 4chan and used it to their advantage to make this product that had, I guess, that kind of like appeal if you could read the code, but. Yeah, I guess more so I was impressed with the amount of crypto fascist aesthetics and references and little puzzles in the Bored Ape world. Like there was a contest to get free NFTs and all these like super strange references to this guy Rene Guénon. And it seemed like these guys like really got into like right-wing intellectuals and then somehow pack that into like the most like aesthetically depraved thing you could ever create. But
it would
anyways,
not
I don't know.
Surprise me at all that if they were even right wingers or edgelords, to be honest, because I mean even without the Bored Ape stuff, I mean this whole space is inherently right wing. I mean, one of the earliest, specifically, we could talk about NFTs too. I should do an episode on this. One of like the earliest like NFT projects was the rare Pepes. They weren't, if I recall, they weren't like technically like NFT. Maybe they were actually. I have to get someone who remembers this. This is from a while back now. But like people were trading these rare Pepe images and paying money for them just to own rare images of Pepe. And again, rare as in artificially rare. There's nothing stopping you from copying and pasting, from taking screenshots, from just selling more of the same thing. This is all artificial bullshit. But yeah,
Right.
Was there anything else, or was that you got your
Oh,
everything you
well,
wanted to
the
talk
other
about?
thing, the other thing was a terminology thing. Do you know what an enjoyer is?
An enjoyer? No.
Enjoy-or. It is a term that I've heard thrown around the crypto people, and it kind of describes like a psychological profile or an attitude that people have to kind of raise above the fray. It's enjoy your with 4 O's between the Y and the R. And it's basically a meme that I've just seen going around, but it's just like a face of the enjoyer, like a what are those things called, like a Wojak or something.
Oh yeah.
And then there's
yeah.
a list of characteristics. Can I read the characteristics off to you?
Please.
Okay, just a sec. Let me pull this. Let's see. Here we go. And the enjoyer. The enjoyer enjoys bull markets and bear markets, loves volatility, enjoys maxi altcoin debates, picks no side, just enjoys, enjoys reading about DeFi exploits, feels bad for victims, but feels proud of exploiters, enjoys other people's gains and wants everyone to win, but also enjoys his losses and makes fun of himself. So I don't know if that sounds like a healthy person to you. Sounds like a healthy person to you, but it sounds very strange to me, and it sounds like hardcore cope, basically. But I don't know. I know people in the space, and that's how they describe themselves, as an enjoyer, and it's somehow like thought to be a more dignified attitude to have.
Really weird.
Yeah,
These
yeah,
people
super
are
strange. I mean, the self-abasement.
honestly,
and
there's like a depravity here. Honestly, like
it's decadent.
it's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. Because it's not even like I don't even know what to compare it to. Like, is there something adjacent to this on like the stock market? Everyone who's like involved,
sadomasochism.
yeah, but they seem to like be addicted to just making money on the stock market. Like, you ask a day trader if he is an enjoyer of when the stock market goes to shit, they'll be like, "Are you fucking nuts?" I think maybe there are some of those people too, but it seems really weird how much they're just obsessed with the idea of crypto. But then again, it is an ideology. It is an ideology, and
well, Wall Street guys, they don't, when there's a big scam that gets pulled off and it lines their pockets, or maybe even just people that they know are aligned with, they're definitely happy for the exploiters, but they're not also telling themselves that they feel bad for maybe they are, but it just seems like slightly sociopathic to convince yourself that
I'm not saying that
you're on
there's
both sides.
there's no sociopaths and a-hole. Please, there's plenty. What I'm saying is the enjoyer in crypto seems to not care when their own financial situation is going down the toilet because of crypto. Am I correct in that being part of their persona?
Well, yeah, but it's not that they don't care; it's that they actually enjoy it, and it's
there
an
you go.
opportunity
Yes,
to make fun of themselves.
That
and
specific
post
aspect.
And...
That specific aspect. I don't know if that exists in Wall Street. They seem to be very dead set on making as much money as possible and being absolutely miserable.
They're explicitly exploiters. This is a way for crypto people to tell themselves that they're not like these, wolfish guys. Like they're actually, nonsensical and everything's to be enjoyed. But anyways, I thought I'd just give you that little morsel.
I got to look into that. That's one I haven't come across yet, and I thought
it's just that meme. If you search on Twitter, enjoy your with 4 O's between the Y and the R, then you'll see a lot of people like, don't lose your head over the crash. Be an enjoyer, or like I used to stay up all night worrying about my wallet until I became an enjoyer.
Yeah, this is an addiction. This is an addiction, and not an addiction to making money. This is an addiction to the adrenaline rush they get looking at those candlestick lines go up and down.
Yeah, and whatever, and hanging out in their Discord, and having like whatever kind of semblance of a social life that might not be available
so
to them
sad, man.
otherwise. It is sad.
Just like go out and fucking go to a bar. I don't even drink. Go to just literally go up to someone anywhere and just start talking to them. Well, they probably can't even do that because they don't even know what to talk about, right? I guess they're just fucked. I mean, really, I don't know what else to say. I mean, I don't know what to do if you're like that. I don't know. If you are like that, call me and let's work through it together.
I think it'll bottom. I think that that meme will there'll be a new meme that makes that meme seem stupid. I don't think Enjoy Or is going to last very long. I hope if it gets bad that people will realize they can just drop that and face the facts, I guess. But yeah. Anyways, thought that would be funny. I never heard you mention it before.
It is very.
I am
bizarre,
more
yeah.
interested in sort of the psychic dimension of the addiction, as you put it, and
I have a strong feeling that a lot of these people in crypto can come out the other side more so than like when I talk about like people who've been red pilled into like white supremacy, extremism, conspiracy theories. And I would gather that a lot of the personality type is the same across that. So,
but it is true. You start they don't call it pilled. Maybe they will if they're being funny, but they call it being onboarded. And a lot of I have friends who are in the space who got onboarded and were never like techie people or had any of this sort of background, but it was like, it's the typical story, but pandemic and downtime and whatever. But
why didn't people just fucking play video games or read a book during the pandemic? I mean,
because some of them
amazing.
are like, I'm gonna make a video game or I'm gonna write a book, and even though I have no real qualifications or, I think it's a lot of people who feel like they are entitled to a living as an artist. And I make art, I've done music and stuff, but I've never had professional aspirations, and I've never felt entitled to, just because I put effort and spend time and work really hard on my project, that a bunch of people will tell me that it's good, which is basically what these people are doing in their Discords. They're all working on their projects, not really paying attention.
The art people are more so in the NFT world than like the crypto and like the straight up like token investing. But
and there's crossover with people.
There's definitely, because obviously NFTs are tokens, but it's definitely a different thing in terms of when we get down to the talking about it. But that's a great point. Like, I think I've talked about it on this show too, the post show, where I was in punk bands for many years when I was younger, and we played at one of my punk bands was pretty active and gaining a local fan base, and we were playing out multiple times a week, packing small venues. Getting gigs in like some bigger venues, like CBG.
We get it, Matt. You're cool.
No, but I'm getting somewhere.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm getting somewhere with it. Like there was some level of success, but we were playing for free for the most part because that's just how it was done in the punk scene.
Well, that's punk rock.
Yeah,
but
that's what so much of the stuff I see though is like the Bored Ape aesthetic. That's street art. That's the same shit.
Well, I'm telling you, the crazy thing. One of the reasons, I mean, I've watched Majority Report and other stuff you've been on, but I probably wouldn't be watching your crypto show unless so many people I know had gotten into this. And not only that, but people who I would have never expected, people who are in punk bands that toured the country and in a van and, shows $5 and they put out tapes and stuff. And then they started getting into like building these 3D worlds and like hosting metaverse parties and stuff. And I'm like, man, like I really liked your like cassette a lot better than your metaverse outing.
Like you could do that. Like I'm not like a technophobe. Like I think like virtual reality is cool, for the right. Like, I don't think there's been any utility in terms of like an everyday must use case, but I've seen some cool gimmicky uses of virtual
Certainly
reality.
not for like a punk concert or a show or anything like that.
I mean,
Like,
if you want to experiment with that, sure. Like
during the
like,
pandemic,
that's not even like.
I don't,
But that's not my issue. My issue is like the people who are specifically doing it via like the blockchain or having.
No, that's what's going on. Is like
no, but there
is
is
they're minting instead of recording tapes and demos and stuff. They're like minting songs and like. It's very strange. Like I didn't. These are just people who were like in my scene, and I would go to their shows, and I knew them and stuff. And
David in the live chat says people want to be Banksy, but here's the thing: Banksy was doing that. Was doing that. Banksy wasn't fucking monetizing that shit at first. It wasn't until he went viral with all that stuff was he starting to really monetize it. And even then, he always, I mean, he's a rare case, obviously, but he always creates the piece without like first, and then it gets like taken and put on put on the market or whatever.
Right. I think maybe too, like, I shouldn't have been as surprised because, as I don't know what kinds of scenes you were involved in. Obviously there's like far left and anarchist politics steeped in all of this, but I think a lot of people I think the libertarian mindset is kind of almost like buried deep in everyone's like operating systems. Like these people don't really see much of a contradiction with what they were doing before and what they're doing now. And I don't think it's because they've been like totally brainwashed necessarily. I think especially the NFT thing, it revolves around art. There's like a lot of flattering people basically and making them feel special and making them feel like there's an audience out there, and the old ways of Web 2 and the music industry were just keeping you back.
Yeah, I mean, you listen, those like that's the thing, like sort of like conspiracy theories, like it's there's some grains of truth there. And that's what they use as their basis.
No, it's like
sort of like how Alex Jones, for example, there are elites. His elites happen to be the Jews or the lizard people or Democrats or even like AOC or whatever, or whoever. George Soros, billionaire Jewish guy. That's his elites holding you down. Because there are people at the very top who really do help pass laws or cut off programs that help people. But those people aren't what Alex Jones says. They're just like corporations and politicians of all stripes, especially far-right Republicans who Alex Jones loves, by the way. Yeah, I mean, for sure, you make a great, and you also made a great point with like how this is the libertarian mindset is like where everyone starts from. And I'm going to just add an addendum there. It's not it's not natural that way. It's just that American culture, like the American way,
God, we'd be fucked if that was natural.
Yeah, I mean, it's based on that. Like that is like pull yourself up by your bootstraps, work hard. It's all take responsibility. If you're not successful, it's on you. You just got to work harder. Stop being poor. God damn it. I'm going a little bit, Vince McMahon for a second, although that's a whole nother story now.
Well, the other, just one more thing with these kinds of artists and stuff. It's like, I think there are a lot of people who like, never would have had a chance even to have like any kind of public audience or anything for their creative endeavors. And it seems like to me, the friends I know who have been doing punk or bands or whatever for a long time, I don't know if they want more success or they just want to like branch out and do something different. But it seems like there is kind of the notion that they have the upper hand in the space because, I mean, just from appearances, it seems like a lot of people are kind of maybe don't have a huge social life before this space or like I said, they never exhibited their art or, things like that. And it seems like these people who have been in, you know, cool bands and been on tour and like worked with cool, you know, whatever, like people more in the know in the real world, underground music scenes and stuff. Like it seems like they're convinced that they have an upper hand because they're looking around the space, and it's a lot of like kind of weird, lame shit that normal, not hyper online people would enjoy.
Right. I mean, like, you know, the thing is too, like, obviously not everyone, but like, I didn't like, you know, it's not like the art, there's obviously only going to be so many artists that make it, but that's
that's what I'm saying.
But that's like the same for anything. I mean, there's just only so many people that can do, like, you know, how many actors never get to, you know, be in
exactly
big films? How many?
I know.
How many? Even just in general, even beyond that, how many teachers?
And it's not a meritocracy. I can't tell my friend, like, I can't tell someone like, just face it, your music sucks. Like you know, I don't know. There probably are like imbalances and injustices, and obviously there's all kinds of like shortcuts in the music industry and in the arts or whatever. But I do think like some people like need to let that go, that there's not, you know, I saw a meme recently and it was there were two doors and there was a massive line in front of the door and a really short line in front of the other door. And the one with the short line was the dance floor, and the one with the long line was the DJ booth. And I feel like there's just like there's an inflation of, there's a surplus of people who want to be cultural producers. And it just seems like, yeah, like this and crypto and NFTs are kind of playing into those desires and aspirations. And
right. But I mean, it's just,
and then they get frustrated
but here's
because
the thing
no
too,
one
like,
wants to touch, none of the other punks want to touch them and, you know, collaborate with them anymore because they're doing the NFT shit. And then that isolation and alienation from people who aren't into that scene just drives them even deeper into it and double down. And
right.
It sucks to see.
People now though can do something that they, you know, now as in over the past, I don't know, 10, 20 years, can do something everyone before them couldn't. And that is they can do that.
But there's
like,
no
they
guarantee
can
they'll
do
make
that.
money off of it.
I mean, you know, some things are hobbies and some things are not. I mean, listen, like
and some of the greatest artists aren't discovered for 20 years, and that doesn't make them cooler to me, and I feel bad for them. But it's like, that's just the way it goes, man. You're not going to get a pat on the back for every song you release, and that's what they're doing. They're inculcating this. It's like, if anyone's been to art school or had to go through critique or read art history, it's like, you think that like you might as well just throw all that out the window with the way some people are behaving. Like, everyone gets in a Discord, shows what they've been doing for the week, and it's, you know, let's fucking go. That was mind blowing. That was so amazing. And it's like 10 seconds of unanimous praise. Then you move on to the next person. It's like, you know, like, that's not a way to develop talent. It's not a way to, and there's a lot of weird ideas about talent and creativity. I don't know. I just feel like they're messing with people's emotions and messing with people's sense of self-worth and aspirations. And I don't know. Everyone wants to be an artist, basically, I think now more than ever. And I just see a lot of people getting toyed with, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I feel like I've been on forever, man.
No, it was a good conversation. Thanks for the call, and I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I think the question is, how do we reach those people without promising them fake, a fake glory? Because that's what whether you're a crypto scammer or a right-wing politician trying to get their vote, you're promising you're promising them exactly what they want. And it's just, it's a lie. It's a lie because
I know,
and we don't do that here. Like, I cannot promise you these things.
And especially just in the art, on the art side of it too. Like, I don't know how to get them or like reach them or whatever, but I can tell you my impulse is like this conservative aristocratic aesthete inside of me just like starts raging away. And I'm like, don't you, like, not everything is good because somebody likes it. And, there's such thing as quality in art, and some things are better than other things. And yeah, I got to get past that, because that's no way to reach out to someone. But it does like blow my mind. I'm like, why? I don't even understand why you'd be interested in these pursuits if you didn't have some kind of respect for excellence and seeing something as an achievement versus something not worth remarking on. It's like, art doesn't always care about your feelings, and it seems like these people want to feel good, make money, and be successful artists. And I don't know, it's just not something that comes easy to anyone, or might not come at all.
Right. No, absolutely. Thanks for the call. Really great.
Yeah.
Please call in again.
Thank
we
you.
can talk about this
Yeah,
more.
maybe I'll call in sometime if I think of something else.
All right, cool. Take care. Have a great night.
Take it easy. Bye.
All right. I'll take what time is it? I'll take a few more calls. Let me thank some patrons, because really, I guess because tomorrow is the day where everyone's everyone's subscription, everyone's card gets charged for their subscription. But we lost a bunch of patrons in the past day, all except one due to financial issues. Another person said they were, and I want this person to reach out to me because I want to talk with them about what I could do, because Patreon sort of cut off. So basically, when you cancel your Patreon subscription, you get to leave an exit survey. You don't have to take it. Some people do. I would say the majority of people who cancel do, from my experience, at least people who cancel my subscription. And I would say 99.999% of my subscribers have to cancel because of financial issues, and totally understand that. Please, I say over and over again, take care of yourself and your family first. This funding this show comes, I'm not even going to say second, because that's not even, funding this show is what you do with your extra money that you want to use, if that's how you want to use it. But every now and then there's someone who's disappointed with something. I like reading those so I know what to do to make the show better. The person who most recently left a disappointed survey basically said, I'm disappointed. I would get very, and then that's it. I would get very what? Now I'm assuming they wrote something more and Patreon cut out their, the rest of what they wrote. These are anonymous surveys too, so I don't know who I could see who canceled, because I have a list of all the members, but I don't know who wrote this survey. I don't care. That's why you canceled. That's your prerogative to cancel for whatever reason you want. But I want to know what I did so I can fix it. I'm disappointed. I would get very what? Please let me know. Seriously, I'm being completely sincere here. Let me go back to the phone. Let me thank the patrons. When was the last show? So I can shout out people who joined. I'm in the wrong page. But yeah, tomorrow is the beginning of the month. I will no doubt lose more people who cancel or cards get declined. That's what always happens at the beginning of the month. I don't want to lose. We're sort of stuck still in this weird Patreon number. We've been around, just below 350. Right now we're at 346 patrons. We've been stuck in that range forever, it feels like. So if you've been thinking about subscribing to the Patreon to help grow the show, and you are in a position financially to do so, only if you're in that position, please, patreon.com/MattBinder. It would be a great time for you to join. And the people who have since the last episode are Colin O, Barry H, Chariot B, Dominic, and Alex K. And Alex just joined just now, about 20 minutes ago. Thank you so much, Alex. Really appreciate the support. Means a lot. And if you want to give a one-off, if you're in the YouTube live stream, you could drop a super chat. I'll read the super chat comments on air. Or if you're a Twitch Prime subscriber, go to twitch.tv/MattBinder, and you get a free Twitch Prime subscription with your Amazon Prime subscription. All you got to do is connect the two accounts, and it's freebie from Amazon. They actually allow you to give a paid subscription to a single Twitch creator every month at no extra cost to you. You need to manually renew that subscription every month. They do not let it auto renew because they hope, I guess, that you forget to manually renew yourself. So twitch.tv/MattBinder if you'd like to do that. Let's go back to the phones. There are a bunch of people who just tried to call in. I ignored all your calls to do that little plug there. Sorry. I'll take maybe 2, maybe 3, depending on how long they go calls, and we'll call it a show. And I know people are probably ramping up for a nice little I guess holiday weekend, right? 4th of July is on Monday. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's David from Charleston. Can you hear me?
Hey, Dave, I can hear you. What would you like to talk about?
So I talk about electoral politics, local politics.
Let's do it.
So, so this is like just advice for like the listeners. Like I've recently joined my local DSA chapter, and I've been getting involved in my local politics because, the state of the world being what it is, it sucks, and a good way to identify like what local politicians are uniquely vulnerable, I think, in like elections would be to go to your election commission results, right? Because those are public record. How many people voted and who they voted for, and whether or not the people that were running in the race were unopposed, or if they had somebody, or if there was write-ins or whatever. So like most local politicians they mostly run unopposed.
Yeah.
Like your county board supervisors, all these people, they usually run unopposed, and they win their elections by less than 1,000 votes. Like, so that means that no one knows who they are for the most part, right? Or B, they're appealing to a very small subset of whatever population is there, right? So like maybe they're a rich landlord and they're just appealing to the other rich landlords. Like that's who came out and voted for them. Or like a single mega church, whatever.
Right.
So it's like, like those people that are less than 1,000 votes, it's like, and most of these people are like, they have immense power over our local areas and where we live. Like I think like the city council of LA governs 15 million people, and there's 10 of them or something like that. It's some nonsense where it's just like, oh, like that's a majority of the state of California lives in LA County, and they're governed by like 15 guys or whatever. And some of these people are running in districts that they got 200 votes last, election. Nobody likes them, right?
Right.
So like I suggest, people get involved in your local politics. Like your local guys, they control way more than you think. You know what I'm saying? And like reach out to your local DSAs or any organization that's like, that's running politicians. Like even run yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because more than likely, just us being left-leaning and having left-leaning politics, like it's going to be more appealing to whatever these jokers are saying most of the time,
Absolutely.
Like there's 2 county supervisors in the city I live in, which I won't give away where I live, but there's 2 county supervisors that are like super, super conservative, and they both won their elections because they were unopposed and they got 700 votes. Their districts have 55,000 people apiece in it. Like, what are we doing? Like we need to get involved and take a page out of the book of the right wing, these crazy crypto Nazis and these crazy people, these crazy libertarians. Like they understand where real power comes from, and
Absolutely.
we just need to get in there and take it away from these people and be like, no, man, like, and if you can, like, if you guys, if we can control our city councils, our county supervisors, our county boards, or whatever, then you can literally dare the state that you live in to be like, we're going to do this policy. You can figure out whether or not you want to shut off this money. And if you do, bite me, right? Like you can do these things. Like there's a lot of power in municipalities, and there's like a lot of decentralized power within the this federal system that we live in. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and I didn't know any of this crap until like I started like watching like Doom, and started watching like, Majority Report and stuff like that, and like watching the Michael Brooks show. And then like, so there's this great TV show on Netflix called The G Word by Adam Conover. It's not radical by any stretch of the imagination, but he has a really good way of speaking to the normal run-of-the-mill people, like people that are not political junkies, anything like that, And so like a lot of people are unaware of the fact that a lot of the governmental decisions in our day-to-day lives that affect us the most happen from some asshole that lives a few blocks from you, because that person's highly involved in politics. Like, do you really want a bunch of, teetotaling, HOA president ladies? Like, those are the types of people that seek out like local power, right? And do you really want those people telling you what to do? Like, wouldn't you rather have a socialist telling you what to do or looking out for your best interests? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing. But like, that's the that's the sort of the key to this all. Getting to those people to begin with. Like, it's a lot easier said than done. You know what I mean? In terms of reaching out to people who aren't coming to you necessarily, and how to get them even interested in hearing you out to begin with. I think your point about getting involved with local politics is absolutely on point. I think everything you said is on point. I just think the local politics thing is a lot easier, actually. As bizarre as that sounds, people might think, getting elected. Like, a lot of positions, like maybe not here in New York City, where, or maybe if you live in another big city where there are a lot of people who do pay attention to these smaller races. And so even those are sort of got a lot of people running. But, small town USAs all over the country, I will guarantee you that your local representative, no matter what they are, is running opposed every year almost.
Like if you don't like the whole defund the police thing, right? It's like, great. If you don't like the police budgets getting a lot of money, run for your county comptroller and own the purse strings and be like, no, we're not going to give you this money. You know what I mean? Like, run for those positions. Like, there are key things within our society that are baffles to, popular will. And they're like mostly bureaucratic positions, like city councils. Most city councils don't really, they have a lot of power over the purse strings or whatever. And then some city like comptrollers or treasurers, like they have a lot of power of where money gets funneled to, Yes. And like, you don't have to, people don't have to run as a socialist. Like, none of these Nazis are running as open Nazis. Like, that's how they got there. Like that label is unpopular. And so most of these people are like, well, I'm a conservative. Like, you don't even have to say you're a leftist. You can just be like, hey, I'm a concerned citizen. And then we have to start thinking like the deconstructionist Republicans like are thinking, like these people that we're fighting against are thinking about. Like, they're not thinking about how do I hold on to power. They're thinking about how do I destroy as much as possible before I'm recalled? And I'm hoping to like neuter this system as much as possible before I get ousted. And most of the time, people don't even notice the deconstruction of like their social safety nets or the administrative state. They don't even notice that stuff until it's too late. And these people are long been dead and they're long out of politics. It doesn't matter. Like, we need to start thinking that way of like, okay, well, you run for your local politics. Like, hey, man, maybe you're a prison abolitionist and your sheriff election is up. Run as a conservative, lie to them. Doesn't matter. Then once you're in, fire as many of them as you can, because guess what? The sheriffs have a lot of power. Like in counties, they have a lot of power, and they can literally fire anybody at will. And anybody that works in their staff. So like you want to you're an abolitionist that wants to reduce your the sheriff's department by 20%. Go lie to the electorate, get elected somehow. I mean, this is the dream, is like get elected, lie to the electorate in some way, meaningful way, and then fire 20% of them. You're like, all right. And then when as a sheriff, you have to submit a budget every year. What if you never hire them back? Like how long can people mount a recall action against you? And then it's like, well, figure out how many people can you fire in that short period of time? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's just like we need to start thinking about these things, like as leftists, as socialists. Like we need to start thinking about like, how can we deconstruct these power structures? You know what I'm saying? Or how can we, build up these power structures? Like, okay, you get in office and like the county supervisor board. Cool. How many things can I get passed before they kick me out?
Yeah.
And then
the thing is too, like when you actually do these things in office, how many people are going to sort of realize that nothing, either things have changed for the better, or you know what, we just got rid of a bunch of cops and nothing's changed at all for the worse. Like
exactly.
Again, maybe they even think things get better too for that specific thing. I mean, you could make things better in other areas too, obviously too. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and then like we have to learn lessons from like other failed political campaigns, like that. What was that DA from San Francisco that just got recalled?
Chesa, can't remember.
Yeah, Chesa Boudin, I think it is.
Yes.
Chesa Boudin. But like, I mean, I'm sure, like maybe, I don't know how crazy the local politics was in San Francisco, but like, I guess this is just me and like the pettiness that lives inside of me. But if I was him in that position, and they were like, oh, he's letting all this thing, like they mounted that campaign against me. Like I would have been on the news every single day, pointing the finger at the cops and being like, they're the reason why things aren't getting done. They're not arresting anybody. They're not doing their job. You know what I'm saying? Because like you're getting recalled anyways. You might as well throw a bomb in somebody's face. Like you might as well. You might as well spit in their eye anyways, right? At that point.
Absolutely. I mean, it's
like just wreck the whole thing at that point. Like, why don't you just like, it's like, okay, you're in there, you're doing your stuff. They already said on day one that they hate you and they're going to rip you out of that office. It's like, cool. I'm going to set this place on fire. Like how
figuratively, by the way, just want to make sure.
Yeah, figuratively, like politically, like it's a well, that's what I'm saying. Like it's a political like arson on your own stuff, right? Like you're basically going, out of spite, a kind of like, but kind of not either. It's just like they're already going to drum you out of politics in that town. Might as well see how much damage you can do. Figuratively, like
I think damage is even the wrong way to put that, because you're not really maybe you're damaging your any future prospect you have. I don't think so either. But I mean, just let people know what's going down. Like I never for me, like Bill de Blasio came in as New York City mayor. And he ran on reforming the NYPD. And then he got here and he realized how hard it was to do. And I don't mean hard like politically difficult. No, I mean the NYPD was literally threatening his children. Literally threatening harassing his daughter. And he had to
snitching on those guys all day.
He needed to step up and use that bully pulpit and say, I can't reform what's going on here because I'm the mayor of New York City. and the NYPD have too much power over me. He needed to stand up and let people know what the fuck is going on in this city. I mean,
oh yeah, like
the mayor is not in charge.
He needed to be like, they're out of control.
The mayor is not in charge.
You should have been like, they're out of control. This, that, and the third, right? Like, why? It doesn't hurt to just stand up there on the news every day and be like, these assholes are threatening me constantly. Why? Because I asked them to stop. I asked them to stop beating up black people. That's what I asked them to do. You know what they did? They've been threatening to kill me. Like, that's what you basically put it in those terms, like, because that's what they're insinuating highly when they're like, like we're seeing that with the Uvalde cops. Like, they're literally menacing teachers,
right?
Or they're menacing
the Uvalde cops
that parent. Yeah, they're just parked outside of their house, like literally harassment. It's like, just, they hate you anyway. They hate you anyways. You ran on a position that said most of y'all have to go. Know that. Like, when you step into that room, they're not your friends. And don't treat them as that. They're your employees. Like if you're a mayor, right? And it's like, you might as well throw bombs day one. Because at the end of the day, maybe you don't win any more supporters, right? But you energize the supporters you do have. Like, we saw that with Trump. Like, Trump day one was like, you're all trash. This is fake news. Like, we can learn something from his messaging. Like, he was effective at incentivizing his base and activating them in a way that none of them have ever been activated before. And it's just like, and that's not really a bad thing. Granted, he sucked. He sucked at the reason why he didn't win 2020 election, because he basically willingly killed most of his supporters. Like, if he would have came out in 2020.
I was saying this too. In 2020.
If he would have came out and been like, take the vaccine, it's my vaccine, blah, 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 mail in your ballots, it's all good, you're on Team Trump, baby. If he would have been running that stuff, he would have won.
Not even just that. I was saying this in 2020 that I was assured that if Trump followed the George W. Bush strategy of where America's got to stick together, tough times, we got to plan and we got to ride this. George W. Bush was in Afghanistan and Iraq and got reelected in 2004. The first presidential election he actually legitimately won was after 9/11, after Afghanistan, after the Iraq War. That's when he actually won, because he was able to because Americans are obsessed with the idea that in tumultuous times, we must stay the course. Stick together and stay the course. Wave those flags.
Change horses now or whatever. You can't do that.
And all he had to do,
like, it was all that stuff. It was all that stuff. And like, that was the thing. It's like, he didn't message right because he's an idiot.
Not even just message right. All Trump had to do was not make the vast majority of Americans feel like while they were in the pandemic, there was no leadership or wishy-washy leadership or crazy leadership, even all over the place leadership. Oh, yeah. He could not do that, so that's why he lost. It would have been the simplest thing in the world for him to have won in 2020. Easier than before the pandemic if he just came out and said the same sort of George W. Bush bullshit. We're all in this together. Oh, yeah. We're all in this together. We're going to fight this virus. I'm doing everything I can. This is the list of things I've done. We got a vaccine on the way, all because of what my administration's done. We're gonna go out there. We're gonna fight this virus together. We're not gonna let them win. Oh, yeah. He couldn't do that. Even just the facade.
Because he's not good at politics. He's not good at politics. Like, that's the thing. In politics, you have to blame the people that are preventing you from doing stuff. Like, it blows me away. And you have to message like correctly. It's like, it blew me away. Like, I saw the same thing.
Even
in
the
2020,
masks,
I was just like, oh my god! The layup. What's he doing?
Even like the mask stuff and the anti-vaxxer stuff, he could have so easily turned it into a patriotic thing. We're gonna sell American flag masks. This is patriotic to do. This is America. United we stand, divided we fall. People would have been eating that shit up. He could not do it.
Oh yeah,
he could not do it.
Yeah, he couldn't do it, and it's like, so like that's the thing, is that like when like you don't get points. Like a lot of people, I think a lot of us don't understand, and I don't know. I think a lot of normal people understand this shit, but I don't think a lot of people that are politicians, it's like they're incubated in some way, or their mind is they have a brain disease that prevents them from like seeing the fact of the matter, is that like, yeah, dude, you campaigned against this you can't, like with de Blasio, it's like you campaigned against this organization. Their material interest is you falling in line because they have a stranglehold on your city and they want to keep it that way, right? So it's like, okay, so you have to come to the realization of like, at the end of the day, like if they want to stand in the way of something, you blame them. You blame them to the public. Like you hold a press conference. Like that was the one thing, like you hold a press conference every day that your agenda is not passed. And you're going, these are the people that are preventing the agenda being passed. They're sitting in my way. They are sitting in your way. And why? And you always frame your things that you want to do, you know, with like normal run-of-the-mill stuff, like stuff that makes sense to people. Like what happened? I told them, I asked them to stop doing hate crimes. I asked them to stop harassing people, you know, and you frame it in that way, I think. And like, I think most people register with that stuff. I think like it draws me in when people are saying stuff like that. When people are just like Bernie Sanders drew me in when he's like saying normal run-of-the-mill stuff. Like,
You know,
yeah,
and he
dude,
did, and
like,
he didn't take advantage of the same thing we're talking about either. He didn't. He did it more than I would say anyone else, obviously, but he didn't do that whole, balls to the wall, go full throttle at it, because this is go out setting everything on fire or whatever.
well, like you can also do the same thing with like carrots too. Doesn't have to be all sticks. You know,
Right.
I think
Yeah.
most people can work together with most stuff, but it's like it doesn't have to be all sticks. But when you have to hit somebody with a stick, you hit them with a stick. You know, but when they're doing things that are great, you give them as many carrots as you can. Like, hey man, this was great. I like to thank my colleague. Blah blah blah. Like you can say whatever you want about this person. Praise them. Hey, this person is on this policy, they're standing with the people and they're here looking out for your interests and stuff like that. And, people like, most of us are busy. We can't spend our time in politics. We can't spend our time with that stuff. And it's just like, yeah. And then most people, it's not by virtue of them being stupid or, dull-minded. It's just the fact that we're all fucking busy and we work 12 hours a day and we're trying to not starve to death. Like all of us,
Right.
are in this horrible time.
That's a lot of reason too why people don't. Whenever people are like, we're my good friend Tim Pool, we're heading towards a civil war, or it's bullshit. We're in a position in the world right now where, at least here in this country, yes, people are doing shitty. But they're all, not all, but the vast majority are at a level where as long as they keep working and keep busy, they're able to provide for their family and make sure nothing bad happens to them. For the most part, if nothing dramatically changes, that's how the most people's experience is in this country. So that's why they don't want to rock the boat. Keep people like that. Everything stays the same for as long as possible. And, I don't see that changing anytime soon, obviously, at least on a grand scale.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. But there are, you're not wrong. People don't want
People there are people who think we're gonna there's gonna be people who I would have thought that after Roe, there would have been some violent protests, and we didn't see that. And some people say that's good because we didn't give the right what they wanted, because they were all so sure. They were calling it like a night of rage or whatever, promoting it. There's going to be some leftists going nuts and Antifa setting stuff on fire. It didn't happen. But, like I thought that something would, honestly. Bigger than what did happen, the protests that happened. We have a lot of people who are in, like I said, in that position where, they're working 12 plus hours a day just to make sure everyone is fed and has a shelter, a roof over their head in their family. But, all it takes is for one sickness or something. You think that would piss people off enough to do something, but no, we're stuck in this weird point where, and I get it. Why would you want to possibly lose whatever your family does have, just for a 1 out of a million shot that something changes?
Yeah, and we're also we're conditioned, like in our country, in America, we're conditioned to kick sideways when we're mad, or kick down. Like when we're pissed off at something, like, when something's horrible is happening to us that is done by, the powers that be, whatever that quote unquote thing is, then we are incentivized in our media and our society. It's that we're conditioned to kick those around us, that are close to us, and, basically do violence on, people either below us or people on that next to us. Like we never conceptualize sending that reaction up, and it's like, we just don't think about it. Like we don't for a country that was born out of revolutionary blood, like we just don't think in revolutionary terms. And I think that has a lot to do with the way that we're consumers now. There's a 100-year process that was been done to us, and it's terrible. But I think we could recapture some of that, at least, purpose or some fire in us if we take the reins of it, starting locally, local politics. Like, we don't like something, we need to at least try, and there's a ton of people out there like, oh, it's liberal reformists, blah, blah, blah. It's like, fine, man, go LARP your revolution. Have fun with that. But you are still you at the end of this thing, okay? Even at the end of the world, we are still each other. We are still the people who we are. Only if you have the horses to do what you're talking about. And that's an accounting that you have to take in yourself. You know what you're capable of. We all do. We know what we're gonna do. So do you have it within you to do it? And I think what we should be doing, what I'm gonna do, is I'm gonna fight local elections. I'm gonna get local politicians, because these people started from the ground up and they have set this thing on fire. And I gotta come put it out. And we have to come put it out together. And guess what we gotta do? We gotta start where they started. Right. Right.
And for people who say electoral politics isn't everything, sure, I agree. But if someone decides that that's where they're gonna do, they're gonna fight.
It's another tactic.
Yeah,
it's another tactic.
Listen, it's got to be done all, because at the end of the day, you want people in office who you could at the very least push to your positions based on the other tactics you take. But if it's just all Republicans, they're not going to give a shit about the protest. They're not going to give a shit about the direct action. They ain't going to give a shit. They're not even going to give a shit about the violence, because if push came to shove, they have their own street thug extremists to hit the streets and fight the leftist protests, in the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, various militia groups, et cetera, et cetera. So I mean, we're going to need people in office who at least we can speak to.
Yeah. And, at the very least, choose your opponent. Like, if that's all we can do is choose the people who we want to oppose, like, we need to choose these theocratic fascists aren't going to be the ones that, they're not the ones that we want to pick. We want to pick people like Joe Biden, we can push that corpse into doing something, you know what I'm saying? But then again, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's just sucks. Everything sucks. Everything sucks right now.
Right.
Got to put our energy somewhere. And yeah, let's do it all at once. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things, like, reminds me of like Mozart, where it's like they asked him, like, how does your symphonies come together? And he said, all at once, like at the same time. So it's like, yeah, do it all. Do the electoral politics. We'll do the whatever it is else you're going to do that I'm not going to talk about on stream. Do that too. Do it all.
Right.
Certainly the right's doing all of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks
for the call, Dave. Really great discussion. Let me know.
Be safe out there.
Let me know if you run for office or you get involved and get someone to run. Let me know what it is, what the campaign is, what the race is. I want to try to. I said that to someone else earlier in the stream who said they're going to run for office in a couple of years. Literally, if you or someone you know or someone you support is running for office and they're not getting attention, reach out to me. I don't have a huge audience, but it's more than nothing, and I would love to do what I can to get attention to them. And I could always even refer them to the majority report where they'll get even in front of a bigger audience there too.
Well, there's one candidate that I support. Actually, there's two candidates I support that are running in a local election. They're both DSA candidates. One of them, they're running for the state assembly of Wisconsin. One of them is named Darren Madison, and the other one is Ryan Clancy. They're great socialists. Like, we're trying something. You know what I'm saying? Like, one of them is a county supervisor, the other one's not a county supervisor, but it's activists, electoral, activists, all that kind of stuff. Look them up. But support your local, your local elections. At the very least, go to a town hall, and maybe we can bully some of these people into doing what we want them to do.
Hopefully, right?
And also protest and do all of it. Do all of it. Let's do all of it.
Yeah.
Anyways,
thanks
have a good
for the
one,
call,
man.
man. Take care. Feel free to call
All right.
anytime. Great discussion. Bye. All right, I will do one more call. One more call. Why not, right? It's been a really great show so far. A lot of people calling in. Every caller has been hitting it out of the park. I love it. Thank you all so much for your great calls. We've had cryptocurrency calls today. We've had calls about politics. This is wonderful. This is as close to a perfect post show as I could imagine. And I just hung up on someone. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh gosh. Okay.
Hello? Bad connection.
Apologize if I'm ever all over the place.
Oh no, you actually cut out completely. I didn't hear anything you said before right now. So just yeah, you completely cut out. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Tabitha. I'm calling from Washington. I kind of want to piggyback off of the just the last caller's conversation with electoral politics.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't know. Everything has just been so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to kind of figure out what to do about just anything in general.
Yes.
But yeah, sorry, I'm a little nervous. I've never called into a show before.
Oh no, don't be nervous.
So-
That's great. No, I'm glad that we can do this. Yeah, and I'm happy you felt comfortable enough to call in here. Listen, just take a deep breath, and you could just say whatever you want. You could curse, you could get angry, you could crack jokes, whatever you feel like you need to do.
I kind of want to talk. Sorry. Lately, just with everything going on, I've been thinking about civility and just the way kind of people think about it and what it's kind of doing to our our kind of political discourse in general, and how the Democratic Party is really just kind of letting Republicans just kind of dog walk them with civility. Like they pretend like, hey, like follow the rules, we all have to follow the rules. But when Republicans have that power, they don't care about the rules. They don't. We've seen it multiple times. They stole Obama's Supreme Court pick for Merrick Garland. Granted, I mean Merrick Garland, but
we wouldn't have had the decisions that we had this term for sure. Like as shitty as Merrick Garland is,
would have been
like,
at least it wouldn't
he
have
would have
been
been a
like
basic liberal. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm so sorry. I'm so
listen.
nervous,
You are absolutely right about the civility thing. I mean, just recently I saw that Joe Biden made a deal to promise Mitch McConnell to nominate an anti-abortion right-wing judge to when there's an opening in Kentucky on the court there or whatever. And he claims that Mitch McConnell, and he says Mitch McConnell said that, you do this for him and he'll make sure not to block any of the judge picks in the future. Give me a break. The second Joe Biden nominates this guy, that's it. Mitch McConnell is going to block everybody Joe Biden decides to nominate after. I mean, they don't abide to even their own word, let alone magical rules where there are no repercussions to breaking. Like, that's the thing too. So many of these rules are just like handshake rules. If you don't listen to them, it's not like a cop is going to show up, arrest you, and throw you in jail. You break these rules, no one gives a shit. All you're going to get, like, maybe you'll get someone who goes like, "How dare you, sir?" Like, that's it. That's it.
Yeah. It concerns me just because I'm even looking into getting more involved in it. I kind of have a little bit, like, it's weird. I'm an introverted extrovert. Like, I like to be social, but I'm also very nervous when I'm being social, kind of like now. It's getting a little better. Thank you for being so chill. And chat, thank you.
No, you're doing great. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm looking into, finding out more about our local DSA chapter here, and but I also, unfortunately, this probably would have been a better segment for your doomed day, but I've been dooming a bit. I worry that, we have to first, it's going to take a long, like, clawing our way back to, undo what's been done that basically Democrats have let Republicans do over the past decades, like just slowly gain all of this power. Like, they stacked how many courts with judicial picks that McConnell blocked from Obama even nominating any judges. And then when Trump comes in, the Democrats just let him appoint everything, just let him fill the courts with conservative judges. And even if we can get people elected to try and pass policies that are going to benefit their communities, what happens when they are challenged in those conservative courts by opponents that they basically know are going to get it struck down, or at least enough of it struck down to make it ineffective, like many policies that we see play out, like, just in general. I mean, look at what they did to Obamacare. Granted, it wasn't a great healthcare, like, policy, but it did something. And
Right.
then they take it to court, and main components of it that actually did make it function get basically like rolled back. Yeah. And
right.
Now it doesn't work. And then they get to sit there and say, see, it doesn't work. See, it's a failure. They've been doing this even with, like, just defunding so many of our, like, public services, or even, like, just looking at education, like the way they have slowly just chipped away at all of the programs, all of the funding that actually make the schools effective. And now, because people are, like, even younger people are growing up now, and they grew up in these failing systems that they've been basically, like, setting up to fail, that even those kids are like, well, they do have a point. Like, you know, they're now becoming the age that they can vote too. And it's hard to really think. And then if you take into account that, honestly, like in the grand scheme of things, what does all of this matter with climate change? Because even if we fix all of these things, you know, it doesn't matter if we can't save the earth. Like, if it, and then even if we can start to fix these things, depending on how long it takes, when climate change does cause even more like climate change refugees that are now moving places, like we're going to see that even in our own country when places become uninhabitable. Like even now they're starting to kind of become uninhabitable. Like look at just the way temperatures have been either getting so hot in places that they shouldn't. Like here in Washington last year, they had a massive heat wave, and you know, we don't fund infrastructure to really fix these things, to make more, like, to weatherproof these things. Like when it was built for the area to, you know, and the region. Those regions are kind of changing, and it's just, you know, then when we start to recover these things, when those massive issues start to impact everything too, I don't know, it's just hard to tell, like, what can we really, because I know we need more people to just step up in general. We do need to get out and vote. It's not that it's going to be completely, like, it's not that voting is useless, but I feel like so much is put on progressives just to, you know, to be the ones to fight the fight, but then also to accept when, you know, the system that's kind of set up the way it is, like Pelosi and them, no matter who we send that is a progressive, if they're challenging an establishment Dem, look what happened in Texas to
Jessica Cisneros, yeah.
Yes, thank you. And that, like, a few hundred votes. And it was after the Roe decision was leaked, and they still went and championed a pro-life Democrat. And how do, like, I don't know, like my brain is just all over the place with so many things happening at the same time. We have January 6th hearings going on. We have the Supreme Court like day after day, just like being like, you know.
Right. No, you are on point. I mean, don't worry. Yeah, you are threading it all together perfectly, and you're absolutely right. No, the way things are going, it's very clear that the system's always been broken. But I guess it teetered back and forth enough to the point where no one had to fix it. And I think we're at that point where it's not teetering back and forth anymore. You know, when you have a minority party, one that loses elections and represents a minority of the country, in terms of numbers, it's something is not working, and they're getting what they want. They're rolling back things that affect people, mostly in places that do not vote for them. You know, why does like New York and California have to abide by this bullshit when they're like voting for for the opposite policies that they're getting? And the rest of the country is too. And, you know, here we are. I mean, it's minority rule. That's what we have right now. We have swaths of land basically deciding, because of the Electoral College, deciding, who's the president. And we have a party that knows exactly what they want and will do anything to get what they want. And this is the party that's destroying the country. And then we have another party that's sitting idly by, just like you said, worried about civility and decorum and bullshit like that. Clearly not prepared and will never be prepared to step up to this moment. They are unwilling to break the same rules that their counterparts on the right are happy to break. You know how many times I've seen people online when leftists say, we want Joe Biden to start throwing out some executive orders here to fix some of this shit that he can fix via executive order. And I see like K-Hive liberals jumping in and saying, oh, executive orders? What, you want Joe Biden to be like Trump? Yeah, actually I do. I want Joe Biden to defy the other party and give his base exactly what they want by any means necessary, just like Trump did. That does not mean he needs to be a xenophobe, sexist, misogynist, homophobe, transphobe, all those things that actually made Trump bad. If he wants to run rampant with executive orders and having an iron fist, passing things that help people and help marginalized groups and help the working people and the poor and the homeless, by all means, please. Because that's not the shit that made Donald Trump Donald Trump. The shit that made Donald Trump is the horrible shit he passed via executive order, not the fact that he used executive orders. FDR used a lot of executive orders, and he ain't Trump.
Yeah, I guess one of my main questions is, how do we get liberals to start actually maybe popping that idea that, the vote blue no matter who. Even though I do believe in, the utilitarian, do, the least or less harm, you try to do harm reduction, but how do we get them to also start accepting progressive candidates? Because it seems like a lot of the times, and like the Texas example, or I don't know, just it seems like when we do get a movement for progressive candidates and then the establishment Democrats come in and squash it with their their kind of the moderate Dem or the incumbent that they think, if we lose this person, it will flip red. Like, how do we get them to come on board with or stick to the progressive candidate versus when there's, like Nancy Pelosi or the leaders of the Democratic Party come in and say, no, like, go with this person, even though they're not going to pass any of these policies that you want and that would be good for you, even though they have, we have a track record of just failure after failure. Stick with this person. And then those people then turn around, and to the progressives that have been fighting so hard, they say, well, if you don't vote with us, then you're no different than voting Republican. Then you progressives are the ones hurting people because you won't just stick with, the person that's still like our already known Democrat, our moderate, the person that's supposed to be that centrist, like that, again, that ideal of civility, and then like the whole centrist take of equating like the left and the right, and it's clear they are very different. But how do we really message that? How do we get them to
Right. I would say that most of those people are not those hardcore, establishment Democrat defending liberals you see online. That's the people who actually go out and vote. That's not really what we're up against in that. Maybe they're certainly there, especially in primaries. But the fact of the matter is that it'll always be easier for an incumbent to win because obviously the people in the district are just familiar with them, and that's just like basic human nature to go with what you're familiar with. They feel like they know Henry Queller in that district. That's probably why. And it's amazing Jessica Cisneros did that well. In fact, if she spends the next 2 years literally continuing to knock on doors and meet with people, I bet she can beat him 3rd time's the charm. I mean, I really do think she can do it. I'm not even saying, like, You know, people usually say that sarcastically, but I'm being legit. I mean, look at Joe Biden. Third time was the charm for him for his presidential run. She can beat him for sure. The fact she
I
got that
hope she
close.
can. If I
Yeah,
had
she
still been in
absolutely.
Texas, I would have voted for her. I moved out of Texas to Washington.
Full disclosure, in her first campaign in 2020 against him, I did some work for the Justice Democrats to get her elected. So just full disclosure there. But she can definitely win next time. The thing working against her was obviously she had the whole Democratic establishment lining up behind Henry Cuellar. And there are people who the familiarity thing, going with who you know, is certainly a factor. But also there are people who believe, who fall for that, Democratic line that, these people won't be able to, the left won't be able to protect you. It's what we're going to be really. They might not be able to beat the Republican. They might not be able to beat the Republican who they go up against in the general. We know Henry Cuellar can. So, out of fear of getting a Republican representative, they listen to the Democratic Party because they probably think, oh, the Democrats know what they're doing. They work in politics. I don't. I barely pay attention to this stuff because I'm working 12-hour days, double shifts sometimes. I can't pay attention to this stuff. This is their job. They must know what they're doing. Spoiler alert, they absolutely have no clue what they're doing, but that's another story. I think it's not that hard in terms of changing people who are staunchly in an ideological position when it comes to reaching out to more centrist liberals or just apolitical liberals. I think it is much more of a factor of literally just getting that face-to-face time with them and being able to do that. I mean, I know from personal experience that I've seen this happen to people who have had candidates knock on their door while they were campaigning. I've seen it on the opposite side with campaigns really being able to get through to people. When we're talking, and obviously this is not possible for a presidential campaign, a Senate campaign, some House districts even, but for local races, assembly districts, things of that nature, and even some AOC did this in her district in Queens and the Bronx. Meeting people where they are, literally face to face, will win over no matter what where they are politically. Really does work. It really does. People are able to trust someone a lot more if they can get face-to-face time with them. And I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Jessica Cisneros had the whole establishment against her, and she almost won. I mean, she did the face-to-face time. She did it. If the whole Democratic establishment did not line up behind Henry Cuellar, she probably would have won. Which is why I think that if she just continues for the next year and a half, 2 years, even just part-time, if not full-time, until the campaign ramps up, she can definitely win next time, without a doubt.
I hope so. I'm also just, I guess, really nervous just when it comes to elections as well. I just don't know how much time we have left on the clock, seeing as I think I have this correct, but last time I heard, the Supreme Court from today is now also looking at the case in North Carolina with gerrymandering.
Yeah.
And that's a little concerning, just seeing how everything is going right now. I'm like, how much time do we realistically have?
Right. I mean, this is the thing. The system is broken officially. It's no more. It's not broken and being held up by, disintegrating, wooden board held up by a few rusty nails. No, all of the support is gone. It's now officially falling apart, and there needs to be a huge blowback. Things need to be completely abolished, rewritten, reformed. And if the Democrats aren't going to do it, then we need to elect people who will. Otherwise, we are in for a truly dystopian future. And future as in like a year or two from now, not that far away.
Now, I mean, I'm not super knowledgeable on all topics, but especially concerning politics. So I'm sorry if I'm a little ignorant on some things. But
No,
when
you
it
were doing
comes
great.
to a potential bill, is there any way they could ever look at, like, if Democrats really wanted to fight for it and wanted to try to push this? I know majority of Americans would love to see term limits when it comes to any sort of political kind of candidate. Like, they would love to see everyone always, whether a Democrat or a Republican. I tend to see it on both sides of everyone calling for like term limits on senators and everything. Would there be a way, or is it already like coded into the Constitution that there's no way to change it? Would we be able to potentially pass a bill to install term limits for Supreme Court justices so that they cannot be there until for life?
Right. I mean, they can. Eventually, that'll get to, it'll go up. There'll be lawsuits. I'm not. This is not my area of expertise either. Probably need to talk to a constitutional lawyer for this. But from my understanding, it will be challenged, and it'll go up the court system, and then eventually, you have the courts deciding whether they get to stay on these lifetime positions or not. And I mean, there you go, right there. I think you know the answer to what they'll decide. Uh, yeah, it's broken. I mean, and they can override those decisions, but you need like 2/3 of Congress, which we will never have. That's not it. That's not a current day thing. Like, you need 2/3 of Congress to and like even like I forgot, like 2/3 of like each state, like a legislature or something like that, to approve of a constitutional amendment. Like 2/3 of the states have to. Never in modern times will we get this done. This needs to change. It needs to change. The system is no longer adequate for our modern day politics. I mean, we have the oldest living constitutional document. There's no other country that's going by these old ass fucking decrepit laws like we are. It is time for a new constitution, frankly. I mean, we see countries literally throwing out their old constitutions and writing new ones just in recent time. Chile, I believe, just did it. It's time. Why are we listening to a document written by slaveholders in the year 2022? It's that's the best. That is the most.
How dare you speak about our founders that
yes,
way?
I know. But that is the outright answer. If we don't want challenges back and forth, and questioning basic human rights, to basically be in the hands of whatever party happens to be in power for the next 4 years, and then that can change 4 years after, and that could change 4 years after, and that could change 4 years after. If we don't want things to work like that, then this is what needs to be done.
I agree. It's I'll try and like now pivot out of the doom and try to maybe go a little bit more into some optimism, some attempted optimism. I'm not like, I do hope like we can still fix this, and I am encouraged by the younger generations. It seems like luckily they are like, they have the internet. They've had the internet. That was something kind of that was newer. Like, I'm 34. I think like I got the internet, or was able to go online with dial up when I was like 13. So I mean, and even then, it wasn't the same wave like with social media that we have now, where people can get more informed. So I am very, happy to see that it seems like, the youth are more knowledgeable and they do want to do something, especially since, I mean, they are the ones looking more at the impending doom of climate change. So I know they really want to fix that. And it seems like they're willing to do more than kind of a lot of the people that were kind of sold on this civility idea that in order to, be the ones to take the high road, that we have to just follow procedure or decorum or the formal bullshit that all of the Republicans just throw out the window when they have power. But I feel like they will put up more of a fight than like what's happening now. And I don't know. I guess I'm also like, I don't know where to go from here as far as like the conversation goes. But
No, this
I
was
do
a
want to say,
great call. I really appreciate you calling. What were you going to say? Go ahead. Uh-oh, did you just disappear?
I am of yours. I'm a big fan of
Oh,
the
wait, hold on.
Majority
I'm losing.
Report
I
and
lost you one
everything.
second. I'm
So
sorry. Give me a second. Something's going on with my computer. Give me 1 second. I got to fix something here. Are you there?
hello.
Yeah, okay,
Am I
cool.
still here?
Yeah, you're still here.
Okay.
Go ahead. Something
Oh,
happened with
I'm
my...
just saying, I guess I'm also just, I'm sorry if my words have been all over the place and I sound dysfunctional at times. I was a little nervous also just because I've been a huge fan of the Majority Report for a really long time, and it's exciting to see, you doing your own thing now, and it's fun. I've watched the creators grow, and it's exciting to watch more grow. So, just saying kudos.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. And thank you for calling in. And you were great. So don't worry about being nervous. You got through it. You didn't get through it. You killed it. It was great. You did really good. It was a great conversation, and definitely call in again. And thanks for the kind words. And have a great night.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You have a great night, and have a good night to all of you chat too. Thank you for being very kind to me.
Take care.
Thank you guys. You too.
Bye. All right, folks. I think I got to call it a night. I know there's a whole bunch of you that wanted to call in. Some of you have been sending me messages. Can you all call in on Tuesday night or next Thursday? I really can't take any more calls. Geez, people just got calls coming in from people who weren't even on the line before. What time? How long have I gone? We're over 2 hours. Usually, sometimes I go long, but I'm not. I'm at the point where I feel like I can't give you my 100%. If I go, I feel like that call with Tabitha was the last call I was able to perform at 100% at. So I'm gonna read some super chats, and it's late. It's already midnight here. I'll read some super chats and give some shout outs. Think about who I should raid on Twitch. And I'll see you guys all on the phones real soon again in just a couple days. Let me read these super chats here. Infinite content. Matt, I tagged you in an article about Wells Fargo and their mortgage business slowing down. Are we about to see a redo of 2008? Maybe. Where'd you tag me in that article? I didn't see it. Or maybe I did and I just don't remember. But I will check it out or send it to me again. Ty Green with a $10 super chat. Have you heard about the Candace Owens crypto scam? What? She promoted that infamous Let's Go Brandon coin to her followers. It tanked to zero in days, and now she's being sued. I am familiar with the Let's Go Brandon token. I know Madison Cawthorn was involved in it. I missed the Candace Owens thing. I have to check that out. Thank you for letting me know. Tokyo Hans with a super chat. Got my half-year bonus and thought I'd share the wealth. Wish this was in dollars. And what are your favorite pizza toppings? Tokyo Han sent me 2,147 yen. Right? I think that's what that is, right? I have no idea what that is in US dollars, but it's probably, it's not $2,000, but it's probably a good chunk of change. Thank you so much, Tokyo Hans. My favorite pizza toppings, pepperoni and mushroom. I'm a common man. I don't, nothing crazy on my pizza. Could do just pepperoni, could do just mushrooms, could do plain, could do both pepperoni and mushrooms, but that's it, really. I don't like anything crazy on my pizzas. Phil B with a $20 super chat. Thank you, Phil. Listening to the show now. Good stuff. Catch you later. Thanks for letting me show off. Thank you, Phil. And Tokyo Hans with another super chat. Forgot to ask. Do you want a Far East Asia correspondent? That would be great. I mean, I can't afford it right now, but if you want to call in with some, information and dispatches every now and then, that'd be great. Sure. Who should I rate on Twitch? Oh, and over on Twitch, by the way, Donald James subscribed to Tier 1. Thank you so much. Brawlerella subscribed with Prime. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the support. Yeah, I got boring pizza taste, Zoe. That's right. I don't want to go too long thinking about who to raid, so I'm just going to raid whoever tonight. Oh, Keffels is on. Let's raid Keffels again. I believe she got banned from Twitter because a bunch of conservatives suspended her account because she was owning them. So let's do that. All right, guys and gals and everybody, I will see you all next time on the Scam Economy or Doomed.